Hey guys, welcome to the channel and welcome to another Codex supplement review. Today we've got the Imperial Fists supplements. Well, we've actually got both. We've got the Imperial Fists and the Salamanders supplements to review. Yep. Some of you will notice this is a little bit different. We were doing live streams and they are becoming an absolute nightmare and a pain in the backside. So we're going to switch to some pre-recorded content for a while, which means a number of things. First of all, it means I've got more opportunity to film with Brom and with Chris and with Alex and with Mikey P and do more videos with them, and we can basically do 2 or 3 at once, hopefully, and then release them in more regular intervals, which is really good. And we did start doing pre-recorded in the first instance. We moved to Twitch because Twitch was a good idea, and then it's starting to kill me slowly, Brom.
Yep. Still think Twitch is a great idea.
Twitch is a great idea.
Just I'd rather you didn't die.
Yeah, and when it's full-time 40k, we'll go back to doing Twitch.
Yeah.
The other thing is, for these Codex reviews, we were noticing that the Q&As, people just wanted us to talk about the new codexes and talk about the rules. So the Q&A sort of idea wasn't really working as such. And doing pre-recorded will allow us to launch this when we are allowed to launch it, rather than having to wait 24, 48 hours later.
Yep.
So you'll notice that this video has gone live at the point in which all the announcements come out of all the other channels as well. So
sweet. This
is one of a 2-part series of videos because we've got 2 supplements. We're going to do this one is going to be Imperial Fists, and then Brom and I will do another one for Salamanders. They're supplements, they're not in-depth, massive codex reviews, so we're going to try and keep them short and sweet so you don't spend hours and hours and hours trying to find the answers that you want. We're basically just going to skim through the book, see what it's got, see if we think it's any good, and have a chat about it, I reckon.
sounds good.
Yeah, you happy with that?
And it means when we pause, people wouldn't notice.
Yeah. It means when we make mistakes or you can't read a rule, it's fine.
A fly comes in.
Yeah, we can edit that out.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Okay, perfect.
Sounds good.
Both Brom and I regularly feature on our website as well. Check out www.deploymentzone.tv. We put battle reports on DZTV DZTV because I keep getting told off every single week. We've currently got the Champion of Chaos campaign that's live on deploymentzone.tv as well. So check out deploymentzone.tv. Last week was Winters' battle report, and he played his orcs against Space Wolves, which was a great big punch up. Next week it's me and you.
Ooh.
Yeah, Ultramarines versus who did you play?
Eternal Sorcerer.
I thought it was, yeah.
Yeah. In our own version of Beachhead.
Yeah.
We played it slightly differently to the rulebook way, but we played it our way.
Yeah, we do that a lot. Yeah.
Pretty much standard.
Just making minor tweaks to missions makes them a different and bit more interesting.
Yeah.
That's the excuse I'm sticking to.
Yeah.
So yeah, check out DZTV for more content. Lots more content, actually. A load of you guys keep asking if we're going to keep putting battle reports on. The other thing with coming away from live streaming and starting to do pre-recording is it should free up a little bit of time here and there to do more things like more battle reports with the team as well. So that's hopefully going to be one of the bonuses to move into this format. Fingers crossed. Also, if you are someone who's looking for a busy hobby community, you can join the Deployment Zone TV Patreon page, and that is, I mean, busy is an understatement. That place is insane. If you come and join us on Patreon, you get access to the Deployment Zone TV Discord, which is full of people 24 hours a day, non-stop hobby talking. So yeah, that's about that. Alex will tell me off also if I don't mention that everybody's got an Instagram page.
I literally walked around at the weekend at a community event and said, I need a selfie with you so I don't get told off, and I need to take the photo over here so I don't get told off, and I've got all these photos now, Alex. I've got loads of photos.
Yeah, loads of photos.
Yeah. And then he'll tell me when I'm allowed to post them.
Yeah, and how to tag them.
And then tell me off for not being in the middle of the shot.
Right, so first things first, we've got this one. We've got the Imperial Fists supplement. I should tell you all that it includes Crimson Fists. It does not include Black Templars, which is interesting. No. I know, yeah. Which either means Black Templars are getting no love at all, or they're going to get their own book.
Yeah.
I don't know where I fall on that one. I originally said that Black Templars would get their own book, and everyone told me that I was wrong. And now they don't currently appear in a supplement. I can't imagine they're just going to go away, so I now think they're going to get their own supplement.
I think you might be right.
I think they might. I don't know. But, so there is just Imperial Fists and Crimson Fists in this. We'll explain how that works in a brief moment. There is 3 characters in the book. We've got Captain Lysander, who, as far as I'm aware, looks not really any different, and Tor Garadon, the new Primaris Imperial Fists thing. Is he captain? Is he?
He is a captain.
He is a captain.
He's got all the captain-ness in Gravis armor. Yeah, he's a beast.
He's got a Signum array. So at the start of your shooting phase, you can select one friendly Imperial Fists unit within 3 inches of the model, and they have a ballistic skill character 2+ to the end of that phase. That's decent. That's all right. Yeah, because that's an Imperial Fists unit as well. So
he's really good, and he comes at a price, but we'll get to that. It's is quite good because he's also got +1 to wound.
Yeah.
No, +1 damage characteristic.
When resolving
we'll
an attack made by this model against a vehicle or building, add 1 to damage characteristics of the weapon being used.
Yes.
I mean that.
That with his fist.
Yeah, so his fist is a flat 4 damage against vehicles and all those buildings that you see.
Yeah. I mean, if you can get him into combat.
The thing that's really interesting about his fist is his Hand of Defiance. So it's a flat 3 damage instead of your normal D3 from a power fist. And the most interesting thing that I've never ever seen before is its strength, which is ×3.
I missed that.
Yeah, strength ×3, AP -3, flat 3 damage. So he's strength 12 with his fist. And he's doing flat 3 damage, flat 4 against tanks.
Yes, and they add 1 to wound as part of another thing.
We'll get there. Not too quickly.
It's amazing.
You'll be interested to know that Tor Garadon is 140 points, which means he is more points than the Iron Father that everyone's taking and is winning all the events. So I don't quite know I don't understand how they ever appointed that Iron Father.
To which we all thought was slightly.
I thought he was a bit
overpriced.
cheap. No, I thought he was a bit cheap. Yeah, I thought the Iron Father was cheap and the Raven God character was too expensive. Shrike.
Yeah, okay,
It turns out that he is very cheap.
Yeah.
Like insanely cheap. Like winning every event cheap. Well done, Games. I think the bloke who set the rules up that day must have been
painting that.
If they'd have done a drugs and alcohol test, he probably would have failed. So there's Tor Garadon. There's 2 Imperial Fists characters. There's also a third Crimson Fist character, which is Pedro Cantor. You all know Pedro Cantor. I kind of expected Cantor to be Primarist. And he hasn't been. He's not. He's not even got a new model, and I think he kind of needed a new model as well. So it's a bit of a shame.
A little bit of love.
He's still got his Oath of Rin, so you add 1 to attacks characteristics for a Crimson Fist model within 6 inches. He's still a chapter master, but he's just. I mean, Tor Garadon is arguably a better character, but if you're running Crimson Fists, you're going to have to take Cantor instead.
Yep.
So Imperial Fists. Now, by this point, you know how all the supplements work. We've had 4 of them. So far. So basically they gain an additional ability that adds on to combat doctrines, and then they have a series of Warlord Traits, Relics, etc. When we go through the book, note that Crimson Fists are denoted as a successor chapter of the Imperial Fists. So the successor chapter stuff that we've talked about previously applies to Crimson Fists. So basically they get access to all the Warlord Traits, all the all the Warlord Traits, all the special issue war gear, all the stratagems and psychic powers. In addition, they get their own set of Warlord Traits, their own couple of stratagems or stratagem, and their own couple of relics, but they do lose access to the Imperial Fist specific relics because they are a successor chapter, not the actual chapter, and you have to pay command points to allow a successor chapter to get access to those relics.
Yeah, I think the Warlord Traits is their own thing, not because you're basically changing the keyword, aren't you? That's what they So there's a bit that goes on with that with it. So normally with successor chapters, it tells you that if you're a successor chapter of Ultramarines, you get access to basically everything apart from relics and the relics of Ultramar. With this Crimson Fist, there's some slight differences to it that's explained on the Sentinels of the Terror page. So their basic ability: if your army's battle forged, and in addition to the detachment abilities gained. Blah, 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 blah. They gain the Legacy of Dawn ability, so long as, with the exception of unaligned units, every unit from your army is Imperial Fists, or every unit from your army is the same Imperial Fist successor chapter. So this is how Crimson Fist will get this Legacy of Dawn ability. And Legacy of Dawn, whilst the Devastator Doctrine is active, and I have to say that with these additional abilities, the best ones tend to be when Devastator Doctrine is active, because it's active from turn 1. So some of them, where they're active in the Combat Doctrine, you don't get to use it for 2 turns. Ultramarines waiting.
It's 1 turn though. That's not too bad.
It's not too bad. Although, in a recent game, I actually went 2 turns in Devastator Doctrine.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Were you playing dirty heavy weapons everywhere?
No, I had only a few dirty heavy weapons, and they needed to be hitting harder at the start.
Extra, right, okay.
And I didn't drop my reinforcements in straight away.
So Legacy of Dawn. Before we divert off there as well. Legacy of Dawn. Whilst this Devastator Doctrine is active, when resolving an attack made with a heavy weapon by a model with this ability against a vehicle or a building, add 1 to the damage characteristic of that weapon for that attack. Now, we can ignore buildings, because as fluffy as it is for Imperial Fists, I don't think I've ever seen anyone take a building ever. Have you?
Once.
Just once?
Yep.
Okay.
I played against the last game I played was against Orcs, and they took that building shack thing that gives them wounds back.
I don't know what that is.
It's a repair shop.
I don't know what that is. But yeah, okay.
It's an Orc repair shop.
Well, you've seen a building. I don't see buildings, and when I go to events, they tend to ban buildings, and buildings just don't exist in 40k. Get rid of these stupid building rules games. Anyway, so yeah, basically they get +1 damage against vehicles when Dev Doctrine's active. That's essentially what they get, because you don't see buildings ever. Which sounds okay it's actually quite good, I think, to be honest with you, because anything that's a flat 1 or 2 damage weapon, like Hellblast, overcharged Hellblast has become damage 3. That's quite tasty. I think that's actually really strong. It's not, again, Iron Hand strong, but I've already established whilst reading both this and the Salamander's book that nothing in the known universe is Iron Hand strong. So please don't compare this book to Iron Hands. Let's put them in their own little world.
With Eldar.
Let's put them somewhere else whilst they're selling loads of Iron Fathers until they get nerfed. And we'll leave them there. Not with Eldar.
Definitely
we'll leave them there. And we'll compare this against the other supplements that are sensible. So Successor Chapters is a Successor Chapter stuff. It basically says if you're a Successor Chapter, you gain all these bonuses, and there's some minor changes. So if your chapter is a Successor Chapter of Imperial Fists, the following rules apply. Warlord Traits. If your Warlord is a character model from the Imperial Fists Successor Chapter other than Crimson Fists, you can use the Imperial Fist Warlord Traits opposite to determine what Warlord trait they have. And then you replace Imperial Fist keyword with the Successor Chapter keyword. If you're Crimson Fist, however, you use the Crimson Fist Warlord Traits table. Relics. Imperial Fist Successor Chapters have access to the special issue War Gear. Relics of the Fist cannot be given to a character model from a Successor Chapter other than Crimson Fist unless you use a Champion of Blade stratagem. So, interestingly, that seems to read that a Crimson Fist character gets access to all the Imperial Fist relics, which is quite nice, yeah. Stratagems, same detail. You basically change the Imperial Fist keyword for your Successor Chapter keyword, including Crimson Fists. And then Librarian for psychic powers, and that's that. So it's normal, basically, +1 damage against vehicles in Dev's Doctrine. That's heavy and range weapons. That's ranged and melee weapons, which is quite nice. And then you've got everything else that's normal apart from Crimson Fists to get some differences. So Warlord Traits, there's 9 instead of 6. And that's 6 for Imperial Fists, 3 for Crimson Fists. Yep. So let's go through these. So, Siege Master's the first one, Brom.
Yay.
When resolving an attack.
Building in it.
How could you tell? Was it my reaction? When resolving an attack made by this warlord against a building or vehicle unit, add 1 to the wound roll.
To be fair, it's really good now that Iron Hands are out there with all their vehicles. So this could be a really good counter.
It's not actually. It's not a terrible shout, apart from they count as double wounds for everything. So I don't really care about taking damage.
True.
But what's interesting here is Torgaradon, right? This is his bog standard Warlord trait, Siege Master. Mm-hmm. Now he's got 5 attacks base, 6 with Shock Assault.
Yep.
Now with this Warlord trait, hitting vehicles, he's hitting with his his hand on 2s, subtracting 1 from the hit roll, but he gets to reroll 1. So he's hitting on 3s with his 6 attacks with Shock Assault. Wounding everything, including Imperial Knights, on 2s, because his strength's times 3.
Yep.
So he's wounding on 2s. AP -3, flat 4 damage.
Yep.
No.
+1 in
Add 1 to the damage characteristic in Devastator Doctrine.
Which,
flat 5 damage!
So,
oh my god!
I actually think that these guys would just stay in Devastator Doctrine, because you don't care about the minus AP, the additional AP for being Assault Doctrine. Why would you care about that for combat weapons when you could have +1 damage?
I think it depends on your opponent. To be fair, if you're facing like an Orc Horde that's got 0 vehicles and nothing but infantry, you don't get any bonuses to being in Dev Doctrine because it's against vehicles or buildings.
Yeah.
But if you're facing anything else that's got a significant number of heavy vehicles in it, you're going to at least probably spend the first 2 turns in Dev Doctrine, and once you've blasted the big vehicles out of the park, you could then switch up to tactical for the additional -1 on your rapid fire and assault weapons and stuff. So Siege Master makes him really good, actually. With his ability, and with Legacy of Dawn, and with Siege Master, he's wounding pretty much every vehicle in the game on 2s, and doing a flat 5 damage if Dev Doctrine's active. That's really tasty.
You just have to get him in combat.
He has the potential to one-shot an Imperial Knight.
Yeah.
Wow. So he's good, right? He's really good. So anyway, other traits. Indomitable. When resolving an attack made against this warlord, an unmodified wound roll of a 1 to 3 always fails, irrespective of any abilities that the weapon or model making that attack may have. I really like this one. Yeah. Now, I said when the transhuman physiology came up for the sort of individual chapter tactic things that existed in the Space Marine book, I said I liked that chapter tactic, and I got told it was pretty pants. Having played against someone who ran it, Sorcerer Dave, and a couple of times when I was wounding on 2s with strength 8 weaponry, he went, no, you're not. You're not wounding on 3s even. You're wounding on 4 pluses. It can be really frustrating to play against.
I said that I'd play it. The last time we played, I went, I'm going to transhuman, and you went, yeah, but I'll just use whatever your +1 to wound trait is.
It doesn't matter.
Just
negates it.
Yeah, just negates it.
I like that one. It's a downside is it's only for the Warlord, but it makes your Imperial Fist Warlord quite tough.
Yeah.
So it is good. again, I like it depending on what you're doing in the use. If your Warlord's a buffing character, you don't care too much about things like Siege Master, because you're not going to be chucking him in harm's way. Although I really like Siege Master because it's an additional with Dev Doctor. It's +2 to damage with heavy weapons. Oh, actually, that's interesting. So he won't get flat 5 damage with Dev Doctrine active.
It's not a heavy.
It's not a heavy weapon.
Ooh.
So it is only flat 4 damage with Siege Master. Okay, so he is less likely to one-shot a knight now.
Yeah, very, very less.
Yeah, he needs all 6 attacks to hit and wound and him to fail all 6 saves. But he still could do it. It's just less likely.
A lot less.
So yeah, I lied to you already with Warlord trait number 1. So Indomitable's good. Makes him survivable.
Yeah.
Makes a Warlord survivable. Not bad, is it? And Indomitable's what Captain Lysander's got with his Storm Shield and his Terminator armor as well. So that's quite nice. Fleet Master. Once per battle, at the end of your fight phase, if this Warlord remained stationary and did not make any attacks this turn, it can call down an orbital strike. If it does, select 1 point on the battlefield and roll a d6 for each unit within d6 of that point, subtracting 1 from the result of the unit being rolled for as a character. On a 4+, the unit being rolled for suffers d3 mortal wounds. So, it's like the stratagem that no one ever used, but in a Warlord trait. So we're going to move on. Stubborn Heroism. This Warlord can fall back when resolving an attack against this Warlord, halve any damage inflicted rounding up. This is brilliant. This is a really good Warlord trait. Yeah. So we've skipped past Fleet Master because it's crap, and I don't think anyone's going to use it. You basically, Fleet Master, let's just touch on it, right? You pick a point on the battlefield, you then have to roll a d6 for the amount of inches that it rates. So you could roll a 1.
Yep.
Okay. And once you've got your d6, you then roll another d6 for every unit that's in range of that. On a 4+, they get d3 mortal wounds.
I know, I've used the stratagem. It was very bad.
And on a 5+, if they're a character, it's terrible.
And then they get a save.
And then you look at Indomitable, and you look at Siege Master, and you look at Stubborn Heroism, and you think, why would anyone ever, in the world ever known universe ever, take Fleet Master? It's just terrible.
If you have a really, really small, really poor captain...
It's terrible.
And you just hide him at the back.
It's terrible.
Maybe.
You could drop the stratagem for orbital bombardment to 1 command point, and I still don't think you'd see people use it. Genuinely. Because the rest of the stratagems are so... Absolutely. So the rest of the stratagems are so good now that to spend a command point, even a command point on something that has a random range, a random effect or a range, a random dice roll to see if they're effective, then a random number of wounds to do that. That needs to be for me. That needs to be a chapter master ability on their data sheet. That once per battle they can do that. Full stop. I don't see any harm in that.
No.
It's just crap. Sorry, Games Workshop, but it's crap. Stubborn Heroism. Like I say, so he cannot fall back. That's the downside.
Yeah.
This Warlord cannot fall back. When resolving an attack against this Warlord, halve any damage inflicted. We know with Abaddon and people like Calgar how good that Warlord trait can be at times.
Yeah.
It's actually really nice. He has a downside to it, which I really like, that he can't fall back. So that's a good Warlord trait. Architect of War. When resolving an attack against a friendly Imperial Fists unit within 6 inches of this Warlord with a weapon that has an armor penetration characteristic of -1, if the unit receiving the benefit of cover...
I read this one and got bored reading it as well.
Yeah. If that unit... So, if you're shooting at a unit near the Warlord and you've got -1 to your weapon, or so you're shooting at that unit that's within 6 inches of the Warlord, and the unit's in cover, you can add additional 1 to the saving throw. This does not apply to invulnerable saving throws. So it's been worded ridiculously. Basically, if your unit's in cover and within 6 inches of the Warlord, and you're attacked by a model that's using an AP -1 weapon, you can ignore that AP -1, is essentially what it's saying.
You get
+2 to your cover save instead of +1.
Yeah.
So you ignore the AP -1, essentially. This does not apply to invulnerable saving throws.
It just negates -1. Ignores -1.
I don't know.
Maybe it took them a while to come up with
I
that.
was really excited about the Imperial Fist book, and it's so rubbish. It's not that rubbish. It's just a bit more rubbish than some of the others. Hand of Dawn. Before the battle, if your army is battle-forged, roll 1d3. You gain a number of command points equal to the result. It's not terrible.
No, it's not.
3 command points. It's quite nice.
But as a Warlord trait, it's not going to do a lot for you.
I don't know.
Through the whole game. You roll that.
The average on a D3 is 2, right? That's the average because it's right in the middle. Gaining 2 command points every game for free for a Warlord trait, when you look at some of the others that aren't that great.
It's like having Calgar in your team, except you don't gain all of his other Warlord traits.
So as much as I love Indomitable and Stubborn Heroism for the reducing damage and stopping you from getting wounded, if you're protecting your Warlord for most of the game anyway, it's not a huge deal. This one, Hand of Dawn, you can guarantee will come into effect every single game you play.
Yeah.
Because you do it before the game, you get D3 command points back.
Yeah.
So although it's not the most amazing, or it's not going to set the world on fire, it's not stupidly exciting, it's going to come into effect every game you play.
I did like it.
It's not like I mean. It's not. You know whether you're facing orcs, Tyranids, Eldar, Dark Eldar, Necrons, you're going to get D3 command points extra.
I prefer this to farming them.
Okay, yeah, I get that absolutely.
Because I know technically you could potentially get 5 to 7, or if you need 3 command points back if you're farming every turn, but in this you're guaranteed at least 2, and you'll remember because you do it at the start of the game, so you won't get midway through the game and go, oh, I've forgotten to be farming again.
Yeah, or I've forgotten to do this one ability that I get once per game or whatever. So yeah, you are right, and like that's one of the reasons why I like it, because you do it before the game, you get to use it in every single battle, which is not terrible, right? For me personally, if I was running Imperial Fists, and I don't like saying this, I think I'd probably be running the Torgaradon model as my Warlord in every single game, and I'd be getting Siege Master. Yeah. Because I just really like that one. The rest aren't terrible. Like I said, Indomitable stands out to me as being quite a nice fluffy one for Imperial Fists. And I quite like Stubborn Heroism. Hand of Dawn is good because of what we've just spoke about. The other two, I don't think they're going to see the light of day.
I do like the Crimson Fist ones.
The Crimson Fists Warlord traits, I think, are better.
Yes.
So Refuse to Die. The first time this Warlord is destroyed, roll a d6 at the end of the phase. On a 4+, return this Warlord to play with d3 wounds remaining, placing them as close as possible to their previous position, more than 1 inch away from enemy models. Now, it's not the d6 wounds back that Guilliman gets, but otherwise it's the same ability.
It's exactly
That's quite cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And it's the end of the phase, like Guilliman as well.
Yep.
And we know how much of a pain in the backside that can be. So if it's the fight phase and you kill the Warlord, they roll a dice on a 4+, he gets back up at the end of the phase. You can't carry on fighting him, and then he gets to fight again or do whatever he's doing in his next turn. Yeah. That's a really cool trait. I like that one a lot. Tenacious Opponent, and remember there's only 3 traits for the Crimson Fists.
Yeah, you got if you're rolling for them, there's a 1, 2, a 3, 4, and 5, 6.
Just a
no
D3
one rolls,
roll,
they just pick.
Yeah, no one rolls. That's true though, isn't it?
It's
I
so
don't know
true.
why they still have D6 numbers. No one rolls for Warlord. No one rolls for Warlord traits. Prove me wrong, YouTube. Maybe someone out there rolls for Warlord traits.
I'm having a really good
day. Should we do
today.
that?
Let's roll for... No.
Next time we play, should we do something like roll for Warlord traits and roll for psychic powers and roll for all that sort of stuff?
Yeah.
That'd be a laugh, wouldn't it?
Yeah. We'll see how that comes out.
Yeah.
I bet we get the same ones we normally...
Tenacious Opponent, yes, YouTube. Look, I definitely rock. Tenacious Opponent. When you choose this Warlord to fight with, if there are at least 5 enemy models within 6 inches of them, add D3 to this Warlord's attack characteristics to the end of the phase. Again, not bad. That's okay.
Yeah. Get stuck in with some orcs.
Yeah, it's not terrible. Again, it's one of those where there are occasions where it might not. I mean, like if you're playing knights, for example, that's not going to come up really. If you've got 5 models within 6 inches of you against knights, you're in the poo. and Tenacious Opponent is not going to help you.
But you add Teeth of Terror to that, and then you get 3
there's
attacks on top of that.
There's combos, yeah. There's definitely combos you can add. Stoic Defender's the last one. This is the one that Pedro Cantor's got as well. Mm-hmm. Friendly Crimson Fist units have the Defenders of Humanity ability whilst within 6 inches of this Warlord. If such a unit already has that ability, i.e. troops choices, each model of that unit counts as 2 models for the purposes of that ability. Yep. That's surprisingly good, I think. I might be wrong, but that's surprisingly good. It means if you push your Warlord into midfield for holding an objective of sorts with Predators and Dreadnoughts and stuff around you, then they're count as objective secured. That's massive.
Or elites. So I see like aggressors being used quite a lot in this sort of
or grab sense and stuff like that.
Yeah. So that's I think that's the narrative spin is you've got all your big heavy siege type units, and if you're pushing forward with them.
Even things like hovering Storm Ravens at that point get objective secured. That's quite nice. And additionally, having 5 intercessors counting as 10 or 10 intercessors counting as 20, it's going to be hard for people to outnumber you with objective secured models at that point, I think. I like that. It's a good trait. Although Pedro Cantor needed a new model. But, we'll not dwell on that. So overall, I think Crimson Fist's got a better deal than Imperial Fists and Warlord traits.
I think so.
What's your favourite one?
I think from a Warlord going forward, I kind of like the Guilliman.
Refuse to Die.
But actually, their last one is my favourite.
Stoic Defender.
Yeah.
So you like both the 2 of the 3 Crimson Fist ones, but you're not bothered about the Imperial Fist ones at all.
There's some. Well, there's one or two good ones, but that's it. There wasn't massively. When I read the the Crimson Fist ones, I was thinking, ooh, I could see them being used, and I might want to use them. But
I think with things like Siege Master, Indomitable, Stubborn Heroism, Refuse to Die, there's some really characterful ones there that you can use for if you're building your own character. I think in terms of if your Imperial Fists is looking at event and tournament play, Hand of Dawn for D3 command points every game is probably your the most versatile one you've got.
I'd almost go as far as say I kind of like those 2 or 3 more than the Ultramarines ones.
One thing that's interesting as well, and I'm not going to skip too far ahead of, but much like every other Space Marine supplement so far, there is a single command point stratagem where you can give another character a Warlord trait. So here's the thought for you. Always spend that command point. Always.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because what you do is you always give your second HQ the Hand of Dawn. Always.
Yeah.
So you spend a command point, you're guaranteed to minimum break even.
Yeah.
And you get your 1 back. The other option is you get 1 or 2 more.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you do that? You spend a command point to get that Warlord trait, you are always going to get at least that command point you've spent back. And if you break even, you've had a bad day.
Yeah.
But you could get +1 a good day, you could get +2 command points on top. So why not spend that command point to make an additional character have a Warlord trait and use that trait? It just makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Absolutely no reason not to. Okay, Relics. Relics of the Fists. So it's the same old. There are 6 relics for the fists, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 odd special issue Wargear ones. Just to note, the last 2 relics for the fists specifically are Crimson Fists. So as far as I read it, Crimson Fists get access to all 6 relics, and Imperial Fists only the first 4, which is interesting. Actually, it says here, if your army is led by an Imperial Fist or Crimson Fist Warlord, you can give one of the following relics of the fists to an Imperial Fist or Crimson Fist character model from your army instead of giving them a relic from... Well, these are considered chapter relics for rules purposes, named characters and vehicle. Anyway. The Spartian... Yeah,
I couldn't say it either.
Model with a bolt pistol or heavy bolt pistol only. The relic repulses the bolt pistol or heavy bolt pistol and has the following profile. Pistol 2, 18-inch range. Strength 4, AP -3. 2 damage. Abilities. This weapon can target a character unit even if it's not the closest enemy unit. It's alright?
Yeah.
It's not bad.
If I wanted to push someone forward, I might be tempted.
18 inches isn't terrible though, to be fair. With a 6-inch move, it's a 24-inch threat range. That's not terrible at all. That's okay. 2 shots. Strength 4 lets it down a touch, but AP -3 and 2 damage. Not bad at all. That's okay. You've then got the Banner of Stagander. I'm murdering these names.
Yeah.
Imperial Fist Ancient model only. When resolving an attack made with a melee weapon by a model in an Imperial Fist unit that is within 6 inches of a friendly model with this relic, add 1 to the hit roll. Okay. So +1 to hit when fighting. If you team that up with Pedro Cantor with +1 attack in melee, you start to make even intercessors really quite frightening.
It starts to make Marines actually fighty.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. The Eye of Hypnoth. Imperial Fist model only. When resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon by a model in an Imperial Fist unit that is within 6 inches of a friendly model with this relic, reroll a wound roll of 1. So you basically turn an Imperial Fist character into a lieutenant, essentially.
Ooh.
But what I mean, people
paying for a lieutenant.
People get lieutenants. Yeah, but you could put this on a librarian. Captain. You could put it on a captain, absolutely, and you end up with a. You could put it on.
You get a Gulliman.
Yeah. You could pay some command points to make your captain a chapter master, and then give him a relic, and for 2 command points, you've got a Gulliman.
For 140 points.
And if you give him the Warlord trait...
you've got your beast.
If you give him the Warlord trait Hand of Dawn, you've really got a Gulliman. You get 3 command points, you're rerolling all hit rolls and rerolling rolls of 1 for Imperial Fist within 6 inches. There's your Gulliman, and probably costing less than half.
A lot less than half.
So it's, but even then, look at it like this: like if you want to run a captain and librarian, you could, for example, give your librarian that particular relic if you don't want all your buffs coming from one character.
Yeah.
So there's options there, which is really, really cool. I like that. There's people that have been known to roll double lieutenants because of the bigger aura bubble. You could roll a lieutenant with this one and take a librarian with this relic, and you got psychic. But it's good. I like the versatility of that one. It's quite a nice relic. Then we've got the Bones of Osrak. When a psychic test, librarian only, when a psychic test is taken from a model with this relic that is attempting to manifest a psychic power from the Geokinesis discipline, which is their individual discipline, you can reroll the result. That's quite cool. Rerolling psychic tests.
Yep.
Always useful. Then we move on to the 2 Crimson Fist relics, which are both weapons. We've got the Duty's Burden, model with a Mastercrafted Auto Bolt Rifle or Mastercrafted Stalker Bolt Rifle only. This relic replaces a Mastercrafted and has the following profile: 30-inch range, rapid fire 2. And I think they missed a trick. They could have made it heavy. That'd been cool. Rapid fire 2, strength 5, AP -2, 2 damage.
So that's going to be captains and lieutenants, Primaris captains and lieutenants, really, isn't it?
Yeah, mostly.
Mostly.
And the bonus as well with it is if you get within 15 inches, rapid fire 2, you get within 15 inches is 4 shots, strength 5, AP -2, 2 damage. That's quite nice.
Yeah,
I like that one.
The additional strength is quite nice.
Yeah,
actually.
it is cool. And 2 damage as well, obviously. Obviously, being rapid fire, if you're in tactical doctrine, that becomes AP -3, and it can shred people. That's quite good. Fist of Vengeance is a Crimson Fist model with a Power Fist only. This is annoying. And I'll explain why this is annoying. So, it's a model with a Power Fist only. The relic replaces a Power Fist as the following profile. Strength ×2, AP -3, flat 3 damage. No negative to hit modifier.
Yep.
So, Pedro Cantor,
with his Power Fist,
who's got Power Fist, Strength ×2, AP -3, D3 damage, subtracting 1 to hit. What you're saying now is there's a Crimson Fist relic that is better than the relic that the Crimson Fist Chapter Master carries himself.
that he can't carry because he's a named character with a relic.
So that's what I'm saying. So he's got a Power Fist. Cantor's got a Power Fist that is worse than the Crimson Fist's relic. He's the Chapter Master. Why wouldn't he just carry that relic?
Yeah,
doesn't make sense.
And you can't give it to him. It does
like
say in there, doesn't it?
You can't give name characters relics. I sound like I'm hating on GW. I'm not, but there's just little things here that I think you've missed a trick here. Why? Whatever.
What they've done is they've made you go out and buy a Primaris captain with a Power Fist.
I tell you, actually, to be fair, that's a really nice positive spin, though.
You can make your own.
Absolutely that. The one thing I do love about 40k is when people go and make their own heroes. I like named characters. I've got nothing wrong with named characters. I own some named characters. But I love it when people go and make their own cool heroes. And with some of these relics and warlord traits and abilities, you can make your own really characterful character or warlord or whatever. And I do like that about that. So there's a nice positive spin on it. I like that.
I think you can make a really good beat stick to go and
go
and forge your own narrative. They will fly forward and, well, maybe not fly. They're going to walk like really slowly. But they're going to be a tank and they're going to soak up all the power, all the fire, and you could lead an army with them.
Cool.
Unlike a Ultramarines.
On the whole, the bonus with this is, on the whole, I don't think it's a terrible relic.
No.
They're all okay. Okay, there's none that are, I think... There's no Ironstone. There's no standout, definitely taking this relic every time, but there's some decent ones, and they're all pretty good. The banner is a bit meh, adding 1 to hit for combat, but it's not terrible. It's still useful. Everything else is decent, I think. None of them are horrendous. They can all find their place. There's none that I look at there and I instantly go, never going to use that. Like the Orbital Bombardment Warlord trait. There's none like that in the relics, which is cool.
Yeah.
That's good for variety.
Does the banner do morale as well?
No. Morale, it just says ancient model only when resolving it. So you don't replace the banner's abilities, but it says when resolving an attack made with a melee weapon, the model with Imperial Fists unit within 6 inches of anyone. Right? Add 1 to the hit roll. Well, it doesn't say it replaces it anyway.
No.
Okay, so special issue war gear. The first 4 are basically the same. 5+ Feel No Pain, Artificer Armor, Mastercrafted Weapon, Digit Weapons. They don't change.
Nope.
Then we have the Fist of Terror, model of the Power Fist only. The relic replaces the Power Fist and has the following profile. Melee ×2, AP -3, D3 damage. When the bearer fights, it makes 1 additional attack with this weapon. So, you haven't got the flat 3 damage that the Crimson Fist of Vengeance has got, but you don't suffer the penalty for fighting with your Power Fist, and you get an additional attack. So, the special issue war gear Power Fist is better than Cantor's Power Fist.
So you're
not just a relic now. A special issue piece of war gear is now better than the Chapter Master's Power Fist. Gate Breaker Bolts. This is the normal bolt changing type relic. That model, when the bearer shoots, so select a bolt weapon. When the bearer shoots with that weapon, you can choose for it to fire a Gate Breaker bolt. If you do so, you can only make 1 attack with that weapon, but if that attack hits, make D3 wound rolls instead of 1. Each successful wound roll results in a wound that must be allocated. When resolving that attack, the weapon has an armor penetration characteristic of -5 and a damage characteristic of 1 for that attack. That's kind of cool. I like that one. It's not terrible. What are you laughing at?
Just triple checking that you could give a Power Fist to a Scout Sergeant and make him better than the Chapter Master.
Good, isn't it?
Alright, he's still going to die.
Auric Aquila, a model with a relic has a 4+ invulnerable save. When the model with a relic would lose a wound as a normal result of a mortal wound, in the psychic phase roll a d6 and a 5+ wounds not lost. That's quite cool. Auric Aquila is quite nice for chucking on things like librarians. You don't get invulnerable saves as standard.
Yeah.
So that's quite cool. And the Warden's Cuirass, add 1 to the wounds characteristic of a model with that relic. Yes, that's 2 Power Fists so far that are better than the one the Chapter Master carries, that are free to give you if you've already got a Power Fist. Stratagems. As per usual, we've got 2 pages of stratagems for the Imperial Fists. There are 2 that are Crimson Fist specific.
That's fine, because they get access to all the...
They do get access to all of them, which is a bonus.
So it's not like they're limited. All it's done is take 2 away from
But
the
I
Imperial
struggle...
Fists.
That's the odd thing, right?
So we got, 16?
4, 8, 16. So 16 stratagems, as usual, for every supplement. And every supplement, the chapter gets access to 16. Apart from Imperial Fists, who only get access to 14. Crimson Fists still get all 16 though. It's alright for them. So Pardo's okay because he likes Crimson Fists. Bitter enemy, 1 CP. Use it in the fight phase when an Imperial Fist unit from your army is chosen to fight with until the end of that phase. When resolving an attack made with a melee weapon by a model in that unit against Iron Warriors unit, you can reroll the hit roll and you can reroll the wound roll. Not terrible, but as we've already established on the channel, it's not hard to beat Iron Warriors. I'm sorry, Chris. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. It's cool because it's narrative though. So I like that stuff because there's a narrative reason to it. So I'm happy with that. But yeah, it's all right. Bolster Defenses. Use the stratagem at the start of your movement phase. Select an Imperial Fist infantry from your army that is entirely on or within a terrain feature. As long as that unit remains stationary when resolving an attack made against that unit, add an additional 1 to the saving throw. This will normally mean you add 2. Invulnerable saves are unaffected. So this is like the Warlord trait, but you spend a command point to do it instead, and you don't have to be within 6 inches of your Warlord. Cool. It's all right. You can only use this stratagem, however, once per battle. I don't know why they've...
limit you that way.
I don't know why they've put that on there. There's a reason for it, clearly, but... And it doesn't affect invulnerable saves, so it's not that broken either. It's a good stratagem, I think. Being in cover and being able to give yourself +2 to your saving throw is good. Yeah. Absolutely, it's good. But only use a stratagem once per battle seems like an odd choice. Sappers. Sappers.
Something to do with buildings?
Use the stratagem in your shooting phase or the fight phase with an Imperial Fist unit from your army is chosen to shoot or fight with. Until the end of that phase, when resolving an attack made by a model in the unit against a building, stop it. We're not going to use that stratagem. Let's read the next one. Pain is a lesson. You add 1 to the hit and add 1 to the rune roll for the building you're never going to fight because no one takes them. Pain is a lesson, 1 command point. Use the stratagem in any phase. When an Imperial Fist unit from your army that is not a vehicle or servitor is chosen as a target of an enemy attack, until the end of that phase, when the model in that unit would lose a wound, roll a d6 and a 6 plus that wound. Feel no pain.
Yeah.
Basically 6 plus feel no pain.
Cool.
It's alright, yeah. Not bad. 6 plus though, for a command point. There's a lot of stuff out there. Chris, who plays Iron Warriors, gets Iron within, Iron without. Yeah. Pays a command point, 6 plus. For spending a command point, I'd like it to be a 5 plus.
Yeah.
I think that's okay because you're spending the command point to do it. I don't think it's too bad when you have to spend a command point for it.
I've spent 2 command points for defensive focus from the Ultramarines book several times now, where you get to pick 3 units that are within 6 inches and roll as if they're overwatching, and I've managed to hit twice in the hat, and I was like, so 2 command points got me 2 additional hits that failed to wound because I've only got bolters. Excellent.
6s aren't great. I mean, I like 6s being a thing. I like having to roll 6s because it's basically the rarest chance you can get, 1 in 6. So I love that sort of stuff. Don't get me wrong, but when you're paying a command point for it, I just feel like it should give you that little bit more. But it's not terrible. It's okay. It could, in a crux, save that last wound, and it could be really important. Yeah. This is where it becomes a bit strange. The next 4 stratagems are all 2 command points, and they're expensive. And considering some of the 1 command point stratagems that exist in the normal Marine book, in the Ultramarine book, even in the Iron Hands book, I don't understand why all of these are 2, but we'll go through them anyway. Because they're kind of narrative, which I really like. Close range bolter fire. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase when an Imperial Fist unit from your army is chosen to shoot with. Until the end of that phase, bolt weapons models in that until the end of the phase, bolt weapon models in that unit are equipped. Well, this is worded horrifically. Bolt weapons models in that unit are equipped with. So any unit that's equipped with a bolt weapon have the pistol type instead of the normal type. E.g., rapid fire 2 bolt weapon becomes pistol 2. So you got
can fire into combat.
Yeah, absolutely. You got 10 intercessors in combat, for example. Yeah. You can then use them in combat. It's 2 CPs, but when you think about the fact that you can't be tied up because you can just pull the trigger in combat, it's really cool.
At no minus.
No, just use them in combat.
That's better than Ultramarines falling back and then recharging a gun line that has just fired.
It just says rapid fire becomes pistol 2. Rapid fire 2 becomes pistol 2. I like that's cool.
Yeah,
that's a cool stratagem. It's 2 CPs.
So just the rapid fire ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bolt weapons in the unit
with rapid fire.
Hang on a minute.
Hang on a minute.
Some
assault.
No, it just says no. Okay, interesting. That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a very good point, mate. Bolt weapons models in that unit are equipped with have the pistol type instead of their normal type. Ooh. So assault bolters on aggressors and stuff become pistol. So you get to fight aggressors in combat, or you get to shoot the aggressors in combat before you then fight with them in combat. Mm-hmm. So that actually, at that point, becomes more worth it for 2 CPs. Yeah. I originally read the rapid fire bit and went, oh, okay, so it's like bolt rifles. Actually, yeah, you're right. Assault bolters. It's just anything with a bolt profile. It will include heavy bolters, bolt devastator, stuff like that. That's nice.
It's a little bit better.
It
makes it a little bit more sort of applicable to more units, doesn't it? So
I would like, for me personally, I would like it to be like for troops choices like intercessors, it's 1 command point. Anything else is 2. I think that's kind of a bit more balanced, maybe. But it's narrative. I like it because it's close range bolter fire. Second for 2 command points is Bolter Drill. Use a strategy in your shooting phase when you choose an Imperial Fist unit from your army to shoot with until the end of that phase when resolving an attack made by a model in that unit with a bolt weapon and an unmodified hit of 6 scores an additional hit. So exploding 6s. That's cool.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
But again, it's cool, but it's 2 command points for 6s scoring additional hits. Now you don't have to roll that additional hit.
No.
So it's not like Death to the False Emperor where you get an additional one and then you have to roll for it. You just get an additional hit. But it's 2 command points. It's a lot, isn't it?
That is. I'm not sure I would be paying too many points for that.
I mean, again, like Bolt Storm aggressors, maybe you've got a lot higher chance of scoring 6s, but they tend to be mild overkill anyway. So I don't know. Stubborn Defense, 2 command points. Use this stratagem at the start of the battle. If an Imperial Fist Warlord from your army is on the battlefield, unit until the end of the battle, you cannot discard storm and defend objectives. But when you achieve one, you score 1 additional victory point. You can only use this stratagem if the mission you're playing uses tactical objectives. Very narrative.
Yeah.
You have to keep storm and defend, but you get an additional victory point every time you do one. Is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
2 command points. Again, 2. I don't know if this. I had this chat with Pardo, who also has this book because SN also get pre-release content, and he's a Crimson Fist player. And we were reading these stratagems and going, it's not. I can maybe get these, but when you then compare them to Ultramarines, Iron Warriors, Raven Guards, that's a lot of command points being spent for not that amazing ability.
Yep.
A lot of this stuff is just you're going to go to your normal. If you're an Imperial Fist player, you're going to go to your normal codex and spend your command points in there instead because they're just a bit better. 2 CPs for Tank Hunters. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase or the fight phase when you choose an Imperial Fist unit from your army to shoot or fight with. Select 1 enemy vehicle unit until the end of that phase when resolving an attack made by a model in an Imperial Fist unit against the selected unit. Add 1 to the rune roll. Okay.
I'm glad you're reading these. We'd be here all night if I was trying to.
So, essentially, you're getting Veterans of the Long War.
Yeah.
So you're getting Veterans of the Long War. However, so I know Vets of the Long War because I'm a Chaos player. This is a perfect time to explain to you guys what I mean by these 2 command points are a bit ridiculous. So I have a unit of 3 Obliterators, or I have a unit of 5 Havocs, okay, with 4 last cannons, right? I spend 1 command point on those Obliterators, all those Havocs, and they get +1 to wound.
Yeah.
I can take my 4 last cannon Havocs, I can split fire at 4 different targets, and for 1 command point, every single one of those last cannons gets +1 to wound. Every single one, against all 4 targets. Tank Hunters, 2 command points. You pick your Imperial Fist unit to shoot with, and then you pick a vehicle you're shooting against, and only that one vehicle, and you get +1 to wound.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, there are people out there that will tell me that I'm wrong because it will stack with the Devastator Doctrine that they get for +1 to wound against... +1 damage against...
no, there is a +1 to wound in there
as well. It's a Warlord trait, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
For that individual Warlord, it's not an aura.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't stack.
So he can stack.
So actually,
You could pick your one unit, your Warlord.
It is as crap as I'm telling you it is for 2 command. Again, 1 command point. I get it because it's. But even with 1 command point, it's still worse than Vets of the Long War. It's still worse than Vets of the Long War at 1 command point because you have to pick a single enemy vehicle. I'm sorry, Imperial Fist players. I'm trying not to hate on this book too much. Like I said, some of the Warlord traits and the relics are really cool. It's just that for 2 CPs, when there's precedent already set in other books that 1 command point gets you better, I don't get the decision making process there to make that 2 command points. Another command point: Champion of Blades. Use this stratagem after nominating a model drawn from your Imperial Fist Successor Chapter to be your Warlord. You can give 1 Relic of the Fist. So basically, you get to use an Imperial Fist Relic and make your Successor Chapter captain or whoever better than Pedro Cantor. Sentinel of Terror for another single command point. Use this stratagem after nominating an Imperial Fist character to be your Warlord. You can generate an additional Warlord trait. That's the one I'm talking about, where you will give him that Hand of Dawn, whatever it's called, to get there, because you break even no matter what. Yep. Back onto ones that are not in every book. 1 command point for clearance protocols. Use it in the shooting phase. When an Imperial Fist unit from your army is chosen to shoot with, up to 10 models in that unit that are equipped with grenades can throw a grenade that phase instead of only 1 model. I like that a lot. Mm-hmm. I like that. That's for one. There we go. There's a good stratagem in the Imperial Fist book. We found one at last. Yep. For a single command point, the whole unit of 10 intercessors can throw grenades. Crack or frag. That's really cool. Yeah. I like that a lot.
Doesn't have to be your intercessors though. Your scouts are just about to be charged and that happen to be really close. Lob grenades.
No, use it in the shooting phase, not Overwatch.
Yeah, but before they're charged.
In the shooting phase. All right.
I'll take it back one phase.
I'll stand corrected, Brom.
Yes. You knew what I meant.
But I mean, you are right. It doesn't have to just be intercessors. I'm just thinking about a unit of 10 intercessors with the bolt rifles.
That's probably what you're going to find somewhere. You're not going to find 10 scouts hanging around in the middle of the field. Really. You're going to find 3 squads of 5.
But either way, if you've got a unit of intercessors, even if it's just 5, and let's face it, intercessors are pretty commonplace now in Space Marine armies. You've got a unit of 5 intercessors, and they're close to a tank, like a Predator or I don't know.
I played orcs and a mechanized orc list, and they had a Morkanort.
And how hard is it for your Strength 4 Bolter and your Strength 4 Marine to take down that? Second, that all 5 of them for a command point can then chuck a Strength 6 crack grenade. Yep. It does make a difference. The AP -1 D3 damage instead of... Yeah, I think that's quite cool for a command point. I like it.
I like it.
So then we go on to Praetorian's Wrath for 2 command points. You use this stratagem at the start of your movement phase if the Devastator Doctrine is active, until the start of your next movement phase when resolving an attack made with a heavy or grenade weapon by an Imperial Fist model from your army. On an unmodified wound roll of a 6, the armor penetration character skill of that weapon is improved by an additional 1 for that attack.
Can you only use it once a game? Once per battle?
Stratagem once per battle.
Okay, so that's the tactical expertise in the Ultramarines one, which is also 2 command points. So it's okay. You've also got our really bad one.
Devastator. That's our only bad one. When Devastator Doctrine's active.
Yeah. This
so you're
is
firing
doctrine.
Heavy weapons anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it also says grenade weapons. If you're spending 2 command points to get an additional AP -1 for grenade weapons, then you need to take yourself to the doctors and get checked out. Because that's lunacy. So you basically want it for when heavy weapons are being... Yep. And again, 2 command points to get additional -1. You're talking things like multi-melters, last cannons. Do you need that? With Dev Doctrine active, even heavy bolters are already AP -2. Do you need to spend 2 command points once per battle to get an additional AP -1 and only on a wound roll of a 6?
But it's the same for Ultramarines ones.
Oh, I thought it was crap then as well. I just think it's more crap now.
Ours is Tactical Doctrine, Assault and Rapid Fire, gain the additional -1 on a 6.
But the thing is, mate, with Assault and Rapid Fire, you're tending to be talking about weapons that have a higher shot rate anyway. So you've got more chances of getting those 6s.
Definitely.
So it's more worth the 2 command points. I still don't think it's that great.
I won't be spending 2 command points on it.
You wouldn't be spending it on the good one.
No.
Let alone on this trash one. Okay.
We do like the book.
I love these supplements. No, I do love these supplements,
There's
and a lot of the things here that like the bolter drill and stuff like that. I love the stratagem. I just don't like the fact that they're all 2 CPs for them. So these stratagems, I will categorically state, compared to some of the other book stratagems, are a lot more toned down, and I'm a lot more accepting of them because they're a little bit more narrative. They're not quite so game-changingly good, and yet the price of them's higher.
Yeah.
It doesn't, and the thing is,
and it's not the stratagem that makes it like suddenly it's game breaking. Therefore, it needs to be 2 command points to balance it out. It's a great stratagem sometimes, but it's just now it's overpowered. So it was balanced anyway at 1 CP probably, but
now it's. And then the thing is, I think if there's a possibility, right, as well. And we'll go on record as saying this. If they'd have dropped this book, and the Salamanders one is not quite as bad, but near enough the same. If those two would have been the middle release, and then Iron Hands would have dropped last, it wouldn't be quite so shocking. But this is a real, and I feel really bad. I genuinely heartfelt feel really bad for Imperial Fists players, because if you're reading this book, having just seen the Iron Hands release, you're gonna want to take it back for a refund.
Yeah.
Compared to what the Iron Hands got.
If that is a bit more on par, I think, with the Ultramarines book.
Absolutely.
The White Scar book.
I still think the Ultramarines book is stronger, and I think I prefer this one personally to the White Scar one.
Yeah,
personally.
I again agree.
So I definitely think Imperial Fists is better than White Scars, and then I think that's where it stops. I don't think there's any other book better than I don't think there's any book worse than Imperial Fists and White Scars. Personally, again, other people can find different combinations. Other people are much better players than I am. So people might see things in things 100%. Like the White Scars book that maybe make them think that's better than this one. But
there'll be combos in not every book, won't there? But there's select combos, or there's multiple combos.
So we've then got Gift of the Phalanx for a single command point. Use a stratagem before the battle. Select one Imperial Fist model from your army that has a Sergeant keyword. He gets a special issue war gear. Okay, that's cool. No. The Shield Unwavering. Oh, good. We're back to 2 command points. Use a stratagem at the end of your turn. Select one Imperial Fist infantry unit from your army that is within 3 inches of any objective markers. Until the start of your next turn, add 1 to the attack characteristics of models in that unit. And when resolving an attack made against that unit, add 1 to the saving throw. It's all right.
It's not too bad.
It's all right for things like I've got defend objective 1 and I'm going to put my infantry units on there and I can spend 2 CPs. They get +1 saving throw even if it's not in cover.
Yeah,
that's okay. But
and just says +1 saving throw, so it's not like so that's in combat as well as
it just says add 1 to saving throw. Yeah,
so that's actually not terrible.
It's not terrible. It's not terrible.
Would count for the whole phase. No, it's a
use a stratagem at the end of your turn. Select one until the start of your next turn. So for the whole enemy turn, you get +1 saving throw. Yeah, for the whole enemy turn. So it's not horrific.
No.
+1 attack as well, which is interesting. Which means if you are going to get charged by Orc Boys and you're defending an objective and you've got again 10 intercessors, stick 2 command points on them. They've got 2 up saves and they've got an additional attack. It's not horrendous. It's probably their fairest priced 2 command point stratagem. And that's saying something because it doesn't blow me away. Okay. Actually, I say that. Close range bolter fire as well is really, really good for 2 CPs, I think.
Yeah. So
you're
on 21 attacks.
Yeah, close range bolter fire is really good for 2 CPs until you read the Salamander's book. Slay the Tyrant for 1 command point. Use a stratagem in your shooting phase or fight phase when a Crimson Fists, we're on to Crimson Fist stratagems now, unit from your army is chosen to shoot or fight with until the end of that phase. When resolving an attack made by a model in that unit against a character, add 1 to the hit roll. I guess for a single command point you can make Pedro Cantor as good as a Relic Power Fist. And then a hated foe. It gets me, that one. It just gets to me. A hated foe.
Put that on a normal captain. It's hitting on 2s.
Use this stratagem in the shooting or fight phase when a Crimson Fist unit from your army is chosen to shoot or fight with. Until the end of that phase, when resolving an attack made by a model in that unit against an Orc unit, you can re-roll the wound rolls. Specific and narrative, because it's against Orcs. So you get to full re-roll wounds.
Yep.
For the Crimson Fist unit against Orcs for a single command point. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
When you're looking at 2 command points for a single unit to get +1 to wounds against a single vehicle, use your stratagem, use it on a Crimson Fist unit, reroll wound rolls if you're targeting a Orc unit. So you can target multiple Orc units and you get full rerolls to wound for a single command point. So actually in its book itself, there's no consistency.
No.
Moving on.
But to be fair, only Crimson Fist can have that one.
The thing is, that's true. It's true, right? So there's a number of occasions with a number of books that we've already reviewed, and before we were reviewing codexes, because Games Workshop were kind enough to send them to us, probably won't after I've read this one. There was a number of other codexes that we get our hands on, and we read them, and you look at some of the stratagems where they've got 2, 3, 4 pages, and you think, wow, I don't know where I'm going to spend my command points.
No.
Because there's a lot of variety and a lot of different things. There's lots of stratagems I can chuck command points at. And actually, I've just started playing my Necrons. And it's there's a couple in there that are 2 command points that are justifiably 2 command points. Being able to reanimate Wraith units of 6 for 2 command points
Should be 4.
is really good.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. So I don't mind paying it. But when you're paying 2 command points and you've only got a battalion, so you start with 8, and that's a quarter of your command points gone straight away, you're going, Jesus Christ, where am I going to spend the rest of these? Because there's a lot of good stratagems in the Necron book. So there's a whole variety thing there, and I can blow all my command points in a Necrons game using good stratagems and still not get to use ones that I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good spread of stratagems. Okay, that's a really well balanced book in terms of stratagems. I look at the Imperial Fists book. 1 or 2 I might use. Otherwise, I'm going to be relying on my main Codex Space Marines.
So you're building your list. You've got your optimum stratagems that you kind of expecting to use, maybe planning around using. You've got your Warlord Traits, you've got your Special War Gear that you're all planning around, and then some other strats that you've got in your back pocket are reactionary based on what the opponent's doing or which opponent you're going to have and how much reaction are you going to have from that. You're probably going straight back to the Space Marine book and using those.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree. 100% agree with you. The 4 pages of Space Marine stratagems just piss all over the Imperial Fist ones. They're just so much better. There's, like I say, there's 2 or 3 maybe that are okay. Yeah. People might tell me that I'm wrong. I like the grenade one. That's okay. That's quite cool. But the shield unwavering, the +1 saving throw on the objective isn't terrible. Close range bolter fire is okay. But they're all 2 command points. Did
you say there was +1 to hit in there? There was a decent +1 to hit.
Not really, no.
But yeah, sorry.
You can add 1 to hit roll for a Crimson Fists unit from your army is chosen to shoot or fight with to the end of the phase. When resolve is made by a model on that unit against a character unit, add 1 to hit roll. Yeah, it's like you're. I 100% agree with what you said. You're going to maybe use 3 or 4 maximum strats from that book. Maybe an additional 1 if you're a Crimson Fist player. Otherwise, you're going to rely on the Marine Codex stratagems to do the heavy lifting for you. Absolutely.
Like the playing Ultramarines, I was struggling to figure out where I wanted to spend my command points because there was so much I kind of wanted to play with.
There's a nice option to have, right?
It was, well, you say that, but I struggled because I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do.
Yeah, but it's still a nice problem.
Yeah, it was a nice problem. So I've actually played quite a few of them now.
When you compare that to your first experience with the first Marine Codex, where because you played Primaris Heavy List, you basically had close to no stratagems.
No, just CP reroll.
So you'd rather the latter, right? You'd 100%. Rather have more options than not.
I like
the bonus. The bonus for these. The one thing I will say is the bonus for these is when you're an Imperial Fist player, you still get the 4 pages of Marine stratagems from the Space Marine Codex. So you're not out of good strats. No. And some of those, I'm sure, we haven't looked through them in detail, but I'm sure there's a couple of strats in the Space Marine book that probably stack really nicely with the Devastator Doctrine type stuff that you get from Imperial Fists. So it's not the end of the world.
No.
It's just you would like them to have some more flavourful Imperial Fist ones that don't cost 65 command points and don't do very much, and some at 6s. Anyway, we're going to move on to the final page that we care about in supplements because no one reads tactical objectives out. We're going to talk about the Geokinesis discipline.
Ooh.
So it's a psychic discipline specific to Imperial Fist Psychers. Yet again, don't forget you can choose to take your psychic powers from Geokinesis. You don't have to. So you can choose to take them from the Librarius discipline within the Space Marine Codex if you want to.
Vanguard.
However, don't forget that relic that if you stick it on your Librarian, you can re-roll psychic powers from the Geokinesis discipline only. Yep. So that's cool. Okay. So there's 6 powers as always.
Yep.
The randomly generated ones that no one randomly generates. Tectonic Purge. Warp charge value of 6. Which is fine. If manifested, then until the start of your next psychic phase, when a charge roll is made for an enemy unit within 12 inches of this psyker, subtract 2 from the result. I like it.
Okay.
I do like that.
Yeah?
Absolutely. I'm a Wild Eaters player. -2 to all my units that are within 12, because it's not a unit. When a charge roll is made for an enemy unit within 12 inches of that psyker, so it's a 12-inch aura, anything within 12 inches of that Librarian is -2 to charge. Think Orcs, think Nids and Gene Stealers, think my Wild Eaters. It slows stuff down.
Yeah.
It's quite good. I like it.
It's kind of forcing you to push your Librarian to be right behind the front lines to give you the best of that buff.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you're still pushing them back to sort of a 9-inch charge without it, or get in a little closer, and you're going to have to do a 10-inch charge because you're -2.
There's maths there, people.
Yeah.
I think.
I was basing it off an 8-inch charge.
Right. Okay.
But
Right.
there is like you're pushing it forward, aren't you? You're not having a librarian right at the back, 6 inches behind your front line, are you? You're gonna have to have him up push to get the best out of that.
No, you are right,
But
because they're going to have to be within 12 inches of his aura for that to be effective. And to be fair, normally with librarians, you want a powers that you're going to be able to use most turns, and that one you're not going to be able to use necessarily every turn, because you're only looking at in your psychic phase. You're looking at your enemy and their movement. You're going to go, I think he's going to charge there, so I need to now put this power on.
Yeah.
Okay. Rack and Ruin has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select one building unit within 18 inches and visible of the Psyker, or select one enemy unit that is wholly within or on a terrain feature and is within 18 inches of the Psyker and visible. Roll 9d6, adding 1 to the result of the unit select was a building. For each roll of a 5+, that unit suffers mortal wound. Right, so let's forget the building thing, because that's nonsense, okay? But let's take the building part out of it and reread the psychic power, and you'll actually realise I think it's quite good.
Do you?
Absolutely. So, for reference, there's a psychic power in the Thousand Suns book called Zinch's Firestorm. A lot of people use it. You roll 9d6 on a 6+, you suffer a mortal wound, and it's really commonly used power. So, let's take the building part out of it, okay? Warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select one enemy unit that is wholly within or on a terrain feature and is within 18 inches of and visible to the Psyker. Roll 9d6, and for each roll of a 5+, the unit suffers 1 mortal wound. So they have to be in terrain.
Yep.
And within 18 inches of the librarian, and visible.
So on a good board, which has terrain heavy, good line of sight blocking terrain, it's going to be very good. So I
like this power, and I think I'm right in saying you can do this. I like this power on a Phobos Imperial Fists Librarian. So you can infiltrate him 12 inches away from enemy models, or 9 inches away from enemy models. And if you've got enemy models that are deployed in a terrain feature, you step him forward once you've infiltrated him, cast Rack and Ruin, 9d6, 5+ and mortal wounds. I think it's okay.
Yeah.
But that's when you take out all the building nonsense that they wrote in that we don't need to care about. Iron Inferno has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select one point on the battlefield within 18 inches of and visible to the Psyker. Roll 1d6 for each enemy unit within 6 inches of that point. On a 4+, it suffers 1 mortal wound. At this point, it's like Orbital Bombardment or the Warlord Trait, but worse. No one's going to use it. Move on. Fortify has a warp charge value of 4. If manifested, 4. If manifested, select one friendly Imperial Fists infantry or biker unit within 12 inches of the Psyker. That model regains up to D3 lost wounds. Nice power. I like that power.
But you just regain wounds. There's no bringing
Imperial Fist infantry or biker unit regain D3 lost wounds. So talking about 3 wound aggressors, one's down to 1 wound.
Yeah.
Warp charge 4, he could go back up to 3.
Yeah.
It's quite nice.
I like that.
For 4, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. That's a good one.
That's not good. That's freaking amazing, actually. That's really... All right. Your single wound models aren't really going to benefit from that, and most intercessors aren't really going to benefit from that.
Do you know what that's really cool for, though,
Centurions and what?
So,
go on then. Hit me.
Fortify on your librarian with the trait that allows +1 to wound. Reroll 1s to wound. Okay, so Imperial Fist Librarian, reroll 1s to wound, psychic power for healing D3 wounds, and then you tag him next to Torgaradon, who wounds everything like vehicles on 2s. Now rerolling 1s because your librarian's nearby. He's got 7 wounds. When he loses some, 4, a warp charge value 4, you give him some back.
He's a beast.
That's quite cool. Yeah. I like that one. Genuinely, I like that one.
I do like it.
Aspect of Stone has a warp charge value of 5. If manifested, then until the start of your next psychic phase, add 2 to the psychic strength and toughness characteristics. Now, this is the other one I would probably think about taking on a buffing librarian running with someone like Torgaradon, because at this point your librarian becomes toughness 6. That's quite nice. Okay, and he becomes strength 6 as well, which isn't bad. And Chasm. Chasm has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select one enemy unit that cannot fly and is within 18 inches of and visible to the Psyker. Roll 2d6. If the result is less than the lowest move characteristic in that unit, it suffers 1 mortal wound. If the result equals the lowest move characteristic in that unit, it suffers D3 mortal wounds. If the result is greater than the lowest move characteristic, it suffers 3 mortal wounds. That's not terrible, because you're rolling 2d6. The average dice roll on 2d6 is 7.
7.
7, yeah.
Yeah, I knew that.
So even Space Marine units, if you get the average dice roll on 2d6, and for Watcher's Roll of 6, you're guaranteed 3 mortal wounds. Yeah. If you beat their move characteristic of 6. That's cool. Flat 3 mortal wounds. It's 6, so it's 1 more than Smite. It's 18 inches invisible. It's the same as Fight. You can't hit fly units. That's because it's Chasm. It's about manipulating the ground, obviously. Yeah. But yeah, look at Death Shroud and Brightlord Terminators for Death Guards. Their move characteristics 4. Yeah. 2d6, beat 4, 3 mortal wounds. I mean, they get disgusting resilient, but you see what I'm saying? 3 mortal wounds is good at that point. You're guaranteed 3 mortal wounds. So that's okay. That's a cool power. That's okay. And that's the book.
That's it.
I mean, what else we can say?
So, how easy is it to paint yellow, Alex?
So Mr. Quipster, Alex, the last person we announced as part of the team, he is looking at Imperial Fists, and he will not be deterred by this supplement because we're a narrative channel, and he likes the narrative of the Imperial Fists working with his custodies. I'm going to give him this supplement, and I'm going to let him use this supplement, and I'm really, 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 really interested to see what he does with it. Again, I think when you look at this supplement in an absolute vacuum, for me personally, it's disappointing. Now, we've reviewed this one first out of the two, so I don't know which one you've watched first because they're going to come out at the same time, but we've reviewed this one first. And I reviewed this one first on purpose because I've already read the Salamanders one and you haven't. And that's for me personally, that's a much, much better book. I like the Salamanders book. Cool. I genuinely really like the Salamanders book. So, one thing we haven't touched on actually, which you've got the Space Marine Codex, and then what's the Imperial Fist normal chapter tactic?
It'll be.
But yeah, so I'm really interested to see what Alex does with them, and don't forget, like I say, in a vacuum, it's bad. However, it's not bad. It's just not amazing. There's worse codexes out there than this supplement, to be fair. But when you compare it to some of the other stuff that's come before, Raven Guard, Iron Hands, Ultramarines, for me, it just doesn't stand up.
Architect of War, which is the -1 negating when you're in cover thing.
Okay.
With the paragraph.
So, what does it say?
When resolving an attack with a weapons characteristic of an armor penetration characteristic of -1 against a friendly Imperial Fist unit that is within 6 inches of the Warlord, receiving a benefit of cover, add 2 to the saving throw.
So Warlord trait, Brom, I want the chapter tactic.
Oh, come on.
You did this last time.
I know, I read the other bit. I get all excited. Okay. When resolving an attack with a ranged weapon by model with this tactic, the target does not suffer the benefit of cover to its saving throws, which isn't bad. That's
so he ignores cover. That's cool.
Ignores cover. And if the attack was made with a bolt weapon, an unmodified roll of a hit of a 6 is an additional hit. So that's Siege Master.
So their 6s for bolt weapons explode.
Their 6s for bolt weapons explode, and then you can pay a command point.
So their 6s for bolt weapons explode. So why the hell would you ever spend 2 command points on Bolter Drill where 6s with bolt weapons explode?
Page
that. Oh my lord. Oh my god. I don't. I'm now lost for words.
Yeah, no, that's.
I'm now lost for words.
Bolt weapon. So
you can basically spend 2 command points to do what you can do anyway because you're an Imperial Fist.
Yeah, if an attack is made with a bolt weapon, as listed on page 166, an unmodified hit roll of a 6 scores an additional hit.
I've shut the
That's
book.
their chapter tactic.
That's just stressed me out. So you can spend 2 command points for an Imperial Fist chapter or Successor Chapter
to
do what.
Twice? Technically,
I don't know if that
is
actually...
that why it's 2 command points. Where is it? It's a bit further.
That's just almost made me cry.
I'm glad I'm so really in the Salamanders one before we start that, just so we can find it.
That's almost made me cry. Like I said, right? Okay, let's
finish on a high. Yeah.
Let's wrap this up. on the whole, the book isn't horrendous, right? If you compare it to some of the other codexes out there, it's not horrific. When you compare it to the other supplements that already exist for Codex Space Marines, I'm afraid I'm not impressed by it. No. Narratively, there's some interesting stuff in there. Games Workshop keep trying to hammer this building thing, and I don't know if they ever see... There must be a select group of people that are going to Warhammer World every week and taking buildings. There must be. Why else would you keep hammering this building stuff? Narratively, it makes sense. Narratively, it does really... I genuinely think it makes sense. Yeah. But the problem is, no one uses buildings. So change the way that mechanic works, or do something. I don't know.
I got a theory.
Go on.
I think buildings are coming. Right, there can only be... Alright, I had a really long-range theory. Buildings might be coming. But
it's like a really shitty Game of Thrones spoof. Buildings are coming. Anyway, yeah, I'm sorry, Imperial Fist players. I'm just trying to... What we always promised. We always promised we would give an honest opinion on the channel. And I'm never going to grab a book that Games Workshop sent me inside. Great job, Games Workshop. This is amazing. I don't think it is. I think it's okay. I think it gives you some narrative options as an Imperial Fist player, and it gives you a touch of Imperial Fist flavour. The relics on the whole are okay. There's some good Warlord traits. There's some interesting psychic powers. The stratagems are mostly 4 pages of trash, and
1 or 2 that you might remember.
And they're not even that trash. It's just the fact that they make them... There's 6 of them in there that are 2 command points. 6.
Yeah.
6 out of 16 that are 2 command points. That's a high number of high costing stratagems. I think that's a mistake.
Yeah, neither.
But that's my personal opinion. Maybe you guys think differently. Obviously, we're dropping this video the day that it's available for pre-order, so it is available for pre-order from Games Workshop or your local independent gaming store, including Element Games. There's a link below to go to Element Games, and they'll have it up for pre-order as well, so you can pre-order from Element. Once you've got the book, so we've read pretty much everything to you, so you can give me your thoughts now based on what you've listened to. However, when you get the book as well, feel free to drop me a line. Maybe there's the combinations in here that I've completely missed. Maybe there's some interesting stuff going on that isn't great. Don't forget, one of my favourite things about the supplements, one of my most favourite things, is we have touched on 8 pages. The rest of it's all narrative. There is massive. Loads of narrative in the book, so if you're not that bothered about having loads of really turbo broken and want to go and win every event because I'm an Iron Hands player suddenly, rules, then you can read the first... I mean, it's like 7/8 worth of the book is all narrative stuff, right? There's loads of it in there.
Well, the first 25 pages is all Imperial Fists before it hits Crimson Fist.
Yeah.
And then you have a whole Crimson Fist section.
So please don't be down about the supplement as a book. As a book, there's loads of extra narrative stuff in there, and I love these supplements for that extra narrative. So that's really, really cool. So it's not a complete lost cause. It's just if you are looking for some amazing rules to make your Imperial Fists the new strongest chapter of Space Marines, I'm afraid I can't see you unseating the Iron Hands anytime soon, unless they get a super turbo nerf, which is probably going to happen.
Yeah, but still.
It's not dreadful. It's not. It's just not as impressive as the rest.
I kind of like it for Crimson Fists, to be fair.
Yeah.
That's the positive spin and takeaway I take out of it, because at least they can avoid some of the crap and they've got some love. And they've got some things that make them a little bit more Ultramarines-y.
But and again, like we said,
that's kind of nice.
I've already touched on this as well. Don't forget, this is a supplement to Codex Space Marines.
Yep.
So you can still use all the Codex Space Marines stuff. So it's not a lost cause, because Codex Space Marines on its own is a strong book.
Yeah.
Right? It is.
I keep going back to it for things.
So it's good. So please don't think that because you're an Imperial Fist player now, you are significantly nerfed. You're not nerfed. It's just you didn't gain as much additional love as some of perhaps the other Successor Chapters have. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this one and you haven't already watched the Salamanders one, then the Salamanders one is also out. And you can go and watch that one. We're about to go and film it. Actually, we haven't recorded that one yet.
Nope.
We're about to go and record that one.
Yeah.
The last ones we did were on live streams, which were changing slightly. So you can also check out our Iron Hands and Raven Guard review, because we did them at the same time, and the White Scars and Ultramarines one, because we did that at the same time. So check those out as well. And basically, if you want to play Marines and win events, if there's anything as last weekend has told us, buy the Iron Hands book.
Yeah. And then 5 flyers and some repulsors
and the Iron Father. I dread to think how many Iron Fathers they've sold. Millions. And he's probably about to hit 250 points. Right. Anything you want to add, Brom?
No, I'm all good.
You are a resident Marine player after all.
Yeah, I'm staying blue.
With not this. Tempted to switch?
No, the darker blue isn't terrible, but I'm staying with the blue.
Okay, cool. So Brom will stay blue. If you've enjoyed this video, we've got a catalogue of videos on YouTube. You can check out them all. We were doing live podcasts until basically now, and we've just decided to sort of change it up for a bit. And basically, we want more reliable, more regular content, and we want my life to be a little bit easier because it's getting hectic.
Yep.
Your support has been amazing so far, and I really appreciate it. So thank you so much for everyone who supported us, whichever way you've chosen to support us. If you want to support us further, you can head on over to deploymentzone.tv and subscribe to us on deploymentzone.tv. It's $4.99 a month, or you can buy an annual pass for $49.99. And there is an absolute massive back catalogue of videos on the website. We also have apps. There's an iOS and Android app, and the iOS app's about to be updated. There's loads of stuff on there, and that's from myself and the team here, and from Winters and his team as well. There's loads of stuff on that website, so come and join us there. You can also get involved in our hobby community via Patreon. It's a separate subscription to deploymentzone.tv, and you can you can pledge to us on Patreon and join the Discord. All the links are below. Everything's below. Included in the links below is the link from our sponsors, Element Games. So massive shout out to you guys at Element. You guys are awesome. We love them. They're amazing. They're the leading independent retailer for me for 40k stuff and other hobby stuff in the whole of the UK and Europe. They're amazing. So hit that link, go to Element and purchase through that link. And they know you came from us, which is important.
Yes, it is.
It's very important for us.
Yeah.
There's like a leaderboard, and we want to be top.
Yeah.
That's why I'm just competitive.
Did you mention the campaigns? Have you mentioned the campaigns?
I have mentioned the Champion of Chaos campaign at the start, but every Tuesday we put a battle report up. At the moment, on Fridays we're putting campaign videos up for narrative campaigns. We're currently going through the Champion of Chaos. Episode 2 is on. Yeah, so 3 is going on this Friday, or 3 is on 4 is on this Friday, whichever way around it is.
Out last Friday. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, and 4 is going up this Friday.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a number of episodes of Champion of Chaos. It's already finished. I am so excited about it. It's amazing. It's amazing. And also other campaigns exist, like the Galmec incident, the Death of Hope, Prime Before Dawn.
And they're already doing the next ones.
We are, yeah. 27 Minutes is being filmed right now.
Yep.
There's another one been planned as well. Lots of stuff.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of stuff.
Which is really good. These videos link, and it's not even just the videos that are named the same things. There is actually teasers and sort of odd sort of Easter egg links throughout many videos. So you just have to watch them all in order.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
Right. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Please feel free to comment below. I'm really interested to hear what you guys think. Maybe it's not all doom as much as I think it is. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.